and welcome to Cover 2 Cook. We're on episode 190, as we're going to be talking about the AFC and NFC Championships as we have our Super Bowl already marked out for us. And then there's a new coach in Pittsburgh. We're going to talk about that. And then we're finally just going to finish with some weekend updates as a guy climbs a building for what damn reason. I have no clue, but I'll tell you right now, I was sweating through that whole thing. So we got a lot to talk about. Let's get it started.
Yeah. I was going to do a vertical jump there. Thank you, Sox.
Travel been to Indiana, and did Cover 2 Cook get you a good hotel?
Indiana? No, I'm in Louisiana. I'm here for Mardi Gras.
I know that this might be hard, but I don't know how much you remember Friday night since we left you damn near when you fell asleep.
I got my belly full, man. I was like, I warm covers and warm. I was like, I could go to sleep right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jack Dorsey.
Final answer?
Yes. All right.
This is going to be a long fucking day.
Welcome back to Cover 2 Cook. We're on episode 190. It is Anthony and I tonight as we have to recap the AFC and NFC Championship. We don't have Tim tonight because, well, he's probably drowning his sorrows.
Yeah.
Poor Broncos. But Anthony, let's talk about this Patriots and Broncos game. What happened here?
Yeah, so poor Timmy boy, because this was a game that I feel like Denver could have definitely won this game. This game started out as a nice day. It was a nice weather, but then it became a snowstorm. Before the weather got crazy, though, Stidham had a nice drive, led to a touchdown. Looked like, okay, here we go, backup quarterback. Then Drake May would get great field position because Stidham would fumble with the ball. If they would have let that play played on, it would have been a touchdown, but they got good field position. Drake May runs it in to tie it up the game. So at half, 7-7. Then the second half looked like a snow globe as it was crazy with the snow. There was only 3 points scored in the second half, and it was by the Patriots. The Patriots go on to win 10-7. Second half was very sloppy because of the snow and all that. Now for the Broncos. Season's over. Great fight, but they didn't get any turnovers. And that's what that defense is notorious for. They didn't get any turnovers versus a Patriots offense that has fumbled the ball multiple times in a couple games. And that just wasn't there. This was the weather to get that. They didn't. If Bo Nix plays, I believe this is a different game. But the important word there is if he didn't, they lose this. Poor Timmy boy, because I really thought the Broncos were going to make it to the Super Bowl. For the Patriots, they did the opposite of what the Broncos did. They caused 2 turnovers. And those 2 turnovers were huge moments in those games. Obviously, I said one of them was a fumble that led to a touchdown, and the other one was to close the game out, right? Drake May running to get the first down to close out the game was a perfect representation of this game. It's like, okay, announcers, stop comparing him to Tom Brady. I'm so tired of it, okay? Yes, he's 23 years old, and is this going to be? But that's so disrespectful to Tom Brady. The man won so many Super Bowls. This is Drake May's first Super Bowl. Just slow it down. If he makes multiple, then we can start talking about Tom Brady. Also, Drake May, you won in Denver. Tom Brady can't say that. He was 0-3 in the playoffs against Denver, but great win by the Patriots as they were our first team to lock it in to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, and we've been seeing this. I mean, the whole United States has gone through this cold wave, and we've been dealing with it all weekend. But when they did a side-by-side of the Patriots Stadium and the Broncos Stadium, there was 1.5 feet of snow at Gillette Stadium. That's insane. I couldn't imagine how that game would look like if they played it there. That would be wild.
Yeah, you kind of go back to like Raiders versus Patriots. There was in the playoffs back in the day when the tuck fumble or whatever, tuck rule, but like they had to like sweep off the field just to get the kicker going.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure they'd be shoveling the 10-yard lines just so you know the markers. That's absolutely crazy. But when you talk about, them comparing him to Tom Brady, is this the Patriots' next winning wave of Super Bowl streaks that he had when he was there? So yeah, I can see why they're trying to, probably because it's just the last relevant thing with the Patriots. But no, it's not fair to either of them. Like, let Drake have his moment, let him decide his own future, kind of thing. But I thought this was a good game. I definitely was excited to see how fast the Broncos scored. But I mean, we kind of heard about this in the pregame that they don't know, the defense didn't know how to prep for this backup quarterback because we haven't seen him play. So he definitely got out to a good start. Just couldn't hold on to that steam, unfortunately, against that defense.
Yeah.
But,
go on.
No, go ahead.
And I was going to say, the Patriots defense, so under-respected. They got pressure today. I get it. It's a backup quarterback, but, like, the running attack couldn't go for Denver. And Mr. Tim Cook on the last podcast did say that, like, the running attack has to get going for Denver. But you were talking about, like, sweeping off the 10s and stuff like that. There's a lot of people talking about the because it was Paramount, so CBS. CBS is trying to get the first down and the line of scrimmage, blue line and yellow line. They were talking about how disastrous that was. Honestly, like, it was, you couldn't even see the ball. Like, it was so crazy in this game. And it came out of nowhere because when that game started, it was just like, oh, everywhere else in the United States is getting all this snow and you guys aren't in Colorado. Oh, just wait, hold your beer. Here it comes. And it was crazy there.
Yeah, it got really foggy, like really dusty, really quick. Definitely vision became an issue. But
yeah, and you kind of wonder what that second half would have been like if it didn't do like that. I don't think the Broncos I don't think they would have came back and won this. But also, I think the biggest problem that me and Mr. Timmy Boy were texting back and forth during the game. I was trying to be nice, not text so often because I can only imagine the pressure and feeling during that. But Sean Payton not getting that field goal and going for it on fourth down now comes back to bite them because they lose by a field goal. Maybe you take it into overtime. Maybe you get the crowd into it. That was a moment where they could have went up 10-0. Instead, they say 7-0, and then eventually became 7-7, 10-7. You never know. You know what I mean? The momentum could have been on your side, but bad call on Sean Payton. And, he said there's regrets that you have in every game when you lose, but nothing you can do now about it.
Yep, absolutely. But overall, it was a really good game. But now we get to see the Patriots make it to the Super Bowl on February 8th. Yeah. Which brings us over to our NFC Championship with the Rams versus the Seahawks. Now, Anthony, I believe you were playing two sides of a coin here. You initially picked the Rams to win, and then last podcast, you're like, just kidding, I'm on the Seahawks side. So how did that end up for you?
Yeah, I knew you weren't going to let that go. You've been talking about it all weekend, and here we go. So Stafford's Cinderella story of a season, right? Started the season with a back injury, was ended today by the Seahawks. The Seahawks would jump out to a 10-3 lead, but Rams would climb back to go up 13-10. But the final drive of the first half is where I feel like the momentum and the game was decided. I know. First half, how does the game decided? But I felt like this was a huge moment in the game. Sam Darnold would hook up with JSN for the Seahawks to go up at half 17-13. That was huge. It was a huge moment in this game. Teams will go back and forth in the second half until the Rams had a chance to go up. They drove 84 yards, but on 4th and 4, can Stafford get one more miracle completion? It would end up incomplete. The Seahawks tried to chew up the final remaining 5 minutes in the game, but took up only 4.5 minutes, leaving Stafford 25 seconds. Is this the Cinderella story? Do they get a touchdown? They had to go like 80 yards, 90 yards. Didn't seem possible. Well, it wasn't. Stafford would complete a couple passes, but the final play, Puka Nacua caught the ball, and as he's falling, he lands inbound, clock runs out. That is awful because obviously Seahawks run on the field because the game's over. Don't give a chance to review, things like that. So for the Rams, season's over. A great season, but 3 games on the road in the playoffs, it just finally caught up to them, right? Like Carolina, they barely got past them. Chicago, they barely got past them. Like, it came down to a moment in this game where they could have got past Seahawks. Maybe. There was still 5 minutes left in this game, but, like, it just finally caught up to them. I think Stafford deserves the MVP for this year over Drake May, but the Rams have to get some more defensive players. I think it's your DBs are going to be a factor in the future if they want to make another Super Bowl run. But does Stafford come back? I mean, coming off an MVP season, but he's been in the league for a hot minute, the back situation. Now for the Seahawks, congrats to Sam Darnold. I'm one of the people, the media is all them, they've been attacking him, and one hell of a game by Sam Darnold in this game. No turnovers, 0. That was the deciding factor in this game. The Seahawks will be facing the Patriots in the Super Bowl. The last time those two teams played was in 2015, where the Patriots would win. But I think it's going to go a little different this upcoming year. And I will say, I think the Seahawks, maybe just started off, I think the Seahawks are going to be heavy favorites going into this game because they look really good. I mean, even that Rams team gave everything they had, but the Seahawks were ready for it. And congrats to the Seahawks. They'll be in the Super Bowl.
Well, I thought Matt Stafford had a really good game. I mean, he's just been solid all year round. And with the interview that he had with Aaron in the beginning there with his back injury to start it off, I mean, he had to overcome a lot, and he still had a solid team all around. So still kudos to him. I am kind of, I picked Seahawks to win this because I was believing in the 12-man, and Sam Darnold has finally come around, and he had a great performance. But I'm like, I'm wondering what he's feeling with having so many turnovers throughout the season, how he's feeling going to be prepping going into the Super Bowl, how that's going to be for him, because that's going to be a lot of pressure. I mean, for both of these quarterbacks, both Sam and Drake have not been to a Super Bowl before, correct?
Correct.
So that's a lot of pressure on the both of them. That's newbie experience, but I did kind of chuckle because going into these two games, we had the head coaches of Mike and Sean and Mike and Sean.
Yep.
So now we have Mike for the Seahawks and Mike for so it's Mike versus Mike.
Yep. The Mike and Ike's there.
So that should be an interesting playoff there. But I don't know. I'll have to, think about this a little bit more because they both Patriots and Seahawks had a really good performance. So I don't know where I'm leaning towards yet. I'll have to wait till our next podcast for me to decide.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got some time because they take a couple weeks off before they actually play again. I think when you look at this game, Sam Darnold took a monkey off his back, right? Everyone said he can't perform in the big games. This guy said that. But, he did. He played very well. On the other side of it, Stafford, I know the defense knows he's not going to take off running, right? And they played that way, but it felt like there was definitely in that 4th and 4, it just felt like a momentum where he got a first down by his legs earlier in that drive. And it was like, I just felt like if he would have took off running there, he would have got the first down or would have possibly scored a touchdown there. But, a defense obviously is situated to know Stafford ain't going to run. So when he did take off, if he would have took off, maybe they would have been ready. But yeah, This was a great game. Came down to the end. A lot better game than that first one, but weather wasn't a factor in this game. The crowd was a huge factor in this game because that 12th man for Seahawks, we kind of were razzing them a little bit for the pregame, being like, we're the best fans, and blah, blah, blah. And it was pretty loud there.
Yeah. Well, and I will say that, I really kind of switched back and forth between who I was rooting for because at the same time, I didn't want this game to end. It was good competition. But when the Rams were 4th and 12, I think, and then they had, an unsportsmanlike conduct called on the Seahawks. And then for him to turn around and give Puka a touchdown against that same guy, it was a total, keep your talking. It was a total shutdown. And I feel like in that moment, I started rooting for the Rams. I'm like, get after it, Yep. So even in the end there, when they were counting down the final seconds, I'm at the TV looking to see, did he actually get out of bounds? Do we have another second on the clock kind of thing? So it was a really good game overall.
Yep, definitely agree.
Well, as I said before, we have the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and now we have the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. So it'll be really exciting to see where we're coming out with that. But that leaves the coachings available for the Broncos and for the Rams here. Are they going to be part of this coaching carousel? That's madness happening right now. So we'll have to hear more about that. But let's talk about the news we do have happening. So we heard that Mike McCarthy is going to the Steelers. There's a lot happening with that. Is Aaron Rodgers coming back? Is he going to get a new quarterback? Anthony, what are your thoughts about Mike returning to coaching?
Yeah, so they don't usually go after an older person, right? They usually go for a younger person so they can have him for a long time. Well, vice versa this time. They actually did the opposite, went after an older person. Mike McCarthy's from Pittsburgh, right? Grew up in Pittsburgh, things like that. So obviously he knows the Steeler way, the traditions, things like this. I do see it as kind of a way to get Aaron Rodgers to come back.
You're right.
But why would you do that? You're going to throw yourself in the same situation. The good thing about Mike McCarthy, though, and just because I watch SportsCenter and things like this, because I'm not that guy, but Dan Orlovsky kind of said, this is a guy that can talk quarterbacks up into a situation. So if they do draft someone in this draft, or remember, they have Will Howard from last year's Ohio State team that won a national championship. Can he step up into this role eventually? There'll be some free agent quarterbacks that'll be out there this year. Do you go get someone like that? I know a lot of Steeler fans are mad about the hire. I don't see the man's won a Super Bowl, okay? Like, I don't know who you were going to go get that has won a Super Bowl, but, like, he's won one, and he won one with Aaron Rodgers. So do you bring it back? But
well, that's my hot take, and I said it on the last time we talked about Aaron. Like, I think he's coming back. Like, I don't think he's going to end his career on the note that he did with the Steelers. So with now him getting the coach that he won a Super Bowl with, I don't know. The cards in my mind are lining up, and I will say I said it first.
Yeah.
In this podcast.
Yeah. No, and honestly, I do see Aaron coming back as well. Now, even before Mike McCarthy was, got the head coaching position, because his great career cannot end with a pick six.
Right.
Like, it just can't. That's not like how – and I say it not because we want him to come back, but Aaron Rodgers is that guy. Like, right? Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys that, like, every detail matters. Obviously, ask him about COVID. But, like, it, like, is one of those situations where now he's got the coach that he's coached or he's played for. He's played at this team before. You still got DK Metcalf. Do you run it back again another year? I still think you're in the same situation because I think the defense was the problem at the end of the year. It gave up too much. So we'll see. We'll see how that all shakes out.
Well, other news in the coaching carousel, Arthur Smith is going to Ohio State to be an offensive coordinator. Now, I don't know much about this. So was he in the NFL and going to college now?
Yeah, so he's kind of bounced around recently because of he was a coach in Atlanta and then moved on. And I think this is a great situation for him. And here's why. Chip Kelly went to Ohio State last year. They won a national championship, right? Got his name out there. So then he went to the Raiders to be an offensive coordinator. Kind of rejuvenated his career of coaching. Now he's unfortunately at Ohio State, or at Northwestern because of how bad Chip Kelly did this upcoming year. But I think this is a good situation for them. I don't know how he's going to kind of fit into the Ohio State. They like to throw the ball around. And he's more of a run-heavy kind of coach, so we'll kind of see how that all shakes out. But I think it's good for his career if it works out. If it works out, it's a huge thing there.
Okay. Well, and then the other point that we have here is Philip Rivers is interviewing for the Bills head coach position. I found that a little bit of tea there. I thought that was an interesting position for him to take after him just, coming back to play. What does that mean? What do you think?
Yeah, so he does have no head coaching experience at college level, NFL level. He coached a high school team this past year, comes back out. I laugh because the memes are awesome. All the memes that are coming after this are absolutely hilarious. Like, he's going to become the head coach. He's going to bench Josh Allen, and then he's going to come in and play. We saw the longest yard where, he comes off the field to go in and play. But Philip Rivers is the type of guy that he has a lot of his stuff together. So when he comes into an interview, I think he definitely has a chance. The biggest interesting thing about the Bills, though, is Josh Allen sitting in for these interviews. And this is one of the first times that we're hearing a player, which he's your franchise player. You're going to have him for the next how many years? He should have an opinion in it. But does he have a deciding factor in it? I think that's because you're giving the fans ammo that if you start out with a bad season, they're going to come after Josh Allen. This is the guy you wanted. This is. So I don't know. I don't think Philip Rivers will get the job because that is a huge ask for a guy that's never had any experience coaching in the college or NFL level. But he did come back and Riley Leonard looked good for one game. So who knows?
Well, I think based on the press conference we had with the Bills, owners and such, I think Josh Allen should definitely have a voice in that room. Because I don't think I would want my, fate handed to me based on somebody else's opinion that obviously isn't all up here.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that the GM gets promoted that made bad decisions and then the owner making a comment about a player, there's a lot of turmoil going there. So, Josh Allen could definitely bring in, but, at the same time, I just think it gives the wrong feel, though. I will go back on that. And you're gonna see it on ESPN. you're going to see it on. We're going to talk about it if that's how it happens. Where if they start out slow, and also too, I'm not hoping for anything good for Buffalo because I think Sean McDermott was still the person to keep.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, most definitely. Well, it was a pretty busy weekend otherwise. Like when we were watching, looking at what things to watch, we actually stopped and went straight to Netflix. We had Alex Honnold free climb this huge building in Taiwan, and he did it like in over an hour, and it was just Anthony was sweating just watching him, and I'm at the edge of my seat watching, but that was so like thrilling to see. No ropes, no harnesses, no nothing. He's just got a bag of chalk and just climbing this huge building. It was absolutely insane. What did you think?
Yeah, like you said, I was sweating. I literally got up to go to use the restroom, and my feet were sliding on the floor because I didn't realize that I was literally that into this. I think we kept saying, and I probably said it once, I said 100 times, like, if this man falls, they're going to turn off the camera, right? Like, because we can't see this. Kids at home that watch this, don't try this. Don't do this, okay? Because what this man did was absolutely amazing. But let's just let this man have this time, okay? I also want to talk about, in this show that we watched, Seth freaking Rollins, man. He was awesome as a commentator. He's crying after he accomplished it. And then when he did dangle by his feet at the top kind of close, he was like, no. Like, even Seth, as a great performer in the WWE, he was like, no, man, like, you're too close to do some crap like that. But I will say, they were supposed to do it on Friday night. Ended up doing it on Saturday night, and weather always has a play into it. It's got to be perfect environment and stuff like that. But one thing I will say about this as well, I didn't love that there's people in the building. Because every time you get to a certain level, there'd be people with signs, and they're hooting and hollering. It's like, this man needs to focus. You all just chill. He does it on the side of a mountain when nobody knows. So don't be doing this to him, but successful. He ended up successful. That's good for him. What core strength this man had, because the things he was doing was absolutely crazy. I did laugh because I had to lean on the wall today, and I was like, oh, I'm like this guy with the leaning up, and you're like, okay, yeah, you're standing. Like he was holding on to himself on the side of a building, but very cool. We stopped exactly what we were doing just to watch that because, yeah, I hope we never see it again. Like, I don't want to see it again.
Yeah, well, and then we go over to watch the Seattle game, and Anthony's like, when's he going to climb the needle?
Yeah. I mean, now I feel like any building's on, like, so, like, is he coming to Chicago next? Like, is the Sears Tower, Willis Tower, whatever you call it these days, is that an option? Like, no, just retire. You're the GOAT, the best. No.
And like when he made it to the top, I was absolutely soaking that moment. And then he took a selfie, and I'm like, God forbid you drop your phone in that moment. But then also, like, it was so windy the entire time he was climbing, and he's just on top of this ball, because that's what it was. It was a ball. And he's just like standing there soaking it in. But it's just like, you were getting like, whipped around, and you have nothing holding you on. Like, all right, get down to a safe level. Please, like, let us all take a breath for you.
And I will say this too. His selfies that he did take and he posted on Instagram, absolutely amazing. Yeah. Awesome pictures. Great. You just won't see my big butt going up something like that. I'll tell you that right now. I ain't got that straight. That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, other news that happened this weekend, college football is staying with a 12-team playoff next year. And, of course, Notre Dame continues to get hate with the contract that they signed this year. Anthony, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so Stephen A. Smith and Cam Newton on Friday went off about, Notre Dame. Cam Newton was the worst. Let's be 100% honest. Cam Newton saying they're irrelevant. The host there goes, irrelevant?
Yeah.
He goes, when's the last time they were good? They were in the national championship last year. They've made it to the Final Four when it was only 4 teams allowed in the playoffs.
Right.
Twice. And then they made the 2012, like, what? We're not talking about Auburn here, bud. We're talking about Notre Dame. And this hate of, like, I think I've read that they're the favorite now. I don't love that. I mean, I would love for them to win it all. But, like, all this hype kind of coming into the season, I will tell you right now, I need college football tomorrow, like, because I have so much anxiety of this offseason for Notre Dame. But, yeah, they get so much hate because they're going to stay to 12 teams. This is showing why they don't need to join a conference. These guys can't decide on shit. And no doubt does Notre Dame, they have college football by the sack. And right now, them being the favorites is exactly all the haters don't want to hear. They know what they got to do, though. They have 2 big games next year for sure. You got BYU, Miami. You got to win those. We said this last year. You got to win the 2 games. They didn't. They got to do that this year. They get in the top 12. They're in automatically, which, real quick, if you win your conference, you're automatically in. So if Notre Dame's in the top 12, they deserve to be in. Like, we're mad that they're getting automatic bids when there's already automatic bids. So either get rid of the automatic bids, which they should. I think they should. Even Notre Dame shouldn't be in on a technicality. But at the same time, like, you can't be like a Big Ten or ACC or SEC or whatever and be like, oh, hey, we deserve if we win our conference, but Notre Dame plays teams like they're scheduling teams that should be good. It's not our fault that the ACC can't compete at this level, even though Miami did go play in the national championship. But like, no, they know what they got to do. They just got to do it now. And now we're going to be talking about it for the next 6 months because I have so much anxiety, and the season isn't even close to being starting.
Right. No, definitely. There's definitely a lot of talk out there. I mean, it's not just those 2. It's everybody's out there just trying to bring down Notre Dame. But, that's another day as a Notre Dame fan. Everyone's always trying to do that. But as you said it once, you've said it 100 times. If they ain't you, or, if you hate us, you ain't us, right?
Yep. They hate us because they ain't us. That's what it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Good old James Franco right there.
Well, that wraps up our conversation around football. However, after the last podcast, Anthony was a little bit in the doghouse, as he would say. And he comes up to me with this question, as he knows I'm like already like heated, right? He comes up to me with this question. Would you send your spouse to prison for 2 years if you could, smack him in the face? Well, actually, let me
back up.
He goes, oh, how did you say it?
Yeah, no. So the question, social media question that I've been seeing a lot of people comment on was, would you send your spouse to prison for 2 years for $20 million? Now, I'm going to let you answer that first because I agree I'm still probably a little bit in the doghouse. So am I going to prison for 2 years for us to get $20 million?
Now, I thought the question you first asked me was if you could hit your spouse for X amount of money. I thought, was that a different question?
That was a different question. It was like 7 days. You couldn't tell them or something like that.
I answered that one way too quickly.
Yeah.
I was ready to go.
And that's why we weren't going to talk about it, but now you got it because you answered that one way too quick. You didn't even know the full question. You're like, I get to hit you? Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. I'll take it. Whatever. For $1, I'll do it. Like, it was crazy.
But yes, but I sent my spouse to prison for 2 years for $20 million. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to say this real quick. I don't think you got what it takes to go to prison for 2 years. I don't know if I do either, but I know you don't, right? But you're going to have to figure it out because we need that $20 million. That's life-changing money right there.
I mean, my first thought I probably can't say over the podcast about, like, good luck in there, Anthony, but, good luck in there, Anthony.
Yeah, well, bar soap's got to stay in the hands. Got to stay in the hands, like, definitely for sure. Yeah, like, the social media thing, it was hilarious because all these people are talking to their spouse and they're just like, yes, easy, yes. And it's like, there's a chance that they might not come out in 2 years, right? Like, you can get extra time being in prison for doing stupid things. So, like, for $20 million, and I'll say this to you. I say yes, but I say no at the same time. And I say no.
Here it is. Let's hear it.
I say no. I say no because, no, whatever money we make in our lives, that's all that matters, right? We don't need this extra amount. $20 million would corrupt us anyways, right? So no. I wouldn't want you to go to prison because that's 2 years that I'm going to spend time with you. Oh. I can't even imagine 2 days without you, yet alone 2 years. So, am I out of the doghouse yet? Yeah.
A little bit more.
Yeah. No, well, that's about it. I'm wrapped up. All right. Well, that is episode 190 as we talked about the NFL, AFC, and NFC Championship, and we gave some college football stuff with the coaching carousel and the NFL as well. Mr. Tim Cook will be joining us back on Wednesday when we're back next, as he'll kind of give his 5 minutes of his conversation, maybe kind of takes a good day to realize the Broncos aren't going to the Super Bowl. A great year, things like that. We'll also see if there's any NFL news, as we only have one more game left. One more Super Bowl. And we can't count the Pro Bowl because that's flag football, and it ain't the same. Sean Taylor ruined that when he smoked a punter on the sideline. But if you like what we do, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and all those, as we share all of our content on there. Even if TikTok puts me in jail, as the Abella thing definitely got me in a little trouble. So thank you, TikTok, for that. But we will talk to you on Wednesday as a full crew. Have a great start to your week. Stay warm, as the snow is still coming, and it's kind of crazy everywhere. So have a great start to your week, and we'll talk to you on Wednesday.